Good morning. Happy Sunday. Now, I thought today it was worth reviewing some of the issues that have been going on in the last few weeks, and one of them which stands out for me is Lawrence Fox, and a lot of people in the comments seem to find it very difficult or seem to think my position is inconsistent or contradictory. And I thought it might be worth having a few minutes to go through the Lawrence Fox conundrum, because I think it requires a bit of analysis. Firstly, let me put my cards on the table very clearly. I like Lawrence as a person. I've known some of his family, and I like them too. So it's that's the cards on the table. But I think it's difficult to reconcile my affection with some of the grosser language that he uses. But the key to understanding all this seems to lie in a throwaway line that he wrote, and I think this is important, in an email that came up in the defamation court case. And it's absolutely central to the issue. How to reconcile the charming, affable Lawrence Fox with the nasty, spiteful things that he says about people like Crystal and Ava Evans. And this is what the throwaway line says. I'm going to quote. I'm getting a huge wad of cash for this game, and I suppose it's better to be hated and rich than hated and fired from a job in a supermarket. I'm getting a huge wad of cash for this game. So for Lawrence, then, his behavior is a game that he's been playing, an act, if you want. But for others, like the drag star Crystal, and for Simon Blake, the former Stonewall trustee, both of whom he labelled as paedophiles, he has turned the game into a personal and horrific nightmare. So it was an act that I think was rehearsed. And some producer on GB News had already gone over Lawrence's contribution to the Dan Wootton show. It was not an off-the-cuff remark to Ava Evans, however brilliantly and nonchalantly, however effortlessly he delivered it. He's an actor, and however much GB News claimed that this was not representative of GB News, of what GB News believed, it had been approved and nodded through. A linguistic diversion. Naughty words, but they had more menace than was intended, and more menace for being so well delivered. Inappropriate, unacceptable, said Lucy Fraser, when pressed, because Lucy Fraser doesn't really say very much unless she's forced to. I don't know why he was allowed to go on, said one wag. Yet in the gallery, someone was queuing his comments and might well have had them written down. Absurdly, because that's how television works. Absurdly. And when the court case itself the other day at the Royal Courts of Justice also drifted into linguistic absurdity, with an inability on the part of the judge and prosecution to accurately define what constitutes racism, that was the get-out clause. And it all comes down to language and to performance. But we can say something, and I think it's that the problem between Lawrence the charmer and Lawrence the shit is about the quality of his acting. And I think his failure to recognize that words which are his own, or words which appear to be his own, have a decisive effect and have an impact, which words that he's delivering from a script really don't. Words he delivers from a script get applause. Words that he delivers as his own get or generate opprobrium. Lawrence made a comparison in the court case between the contraction of the word Australian to Aussie, and wondered why a similar contraction of the word Pakistan should constitute a racist jibe. It does because, quite simply, of its cultural use. The Latin word for black, for example, is not intrinsically a racial slur. It's the name of a dog in Dam Busters. But it has a cultural connotation which is undoubtedly racist, or has become racist. The word was not racist in 1950, but it is so now. Similarly, the word gay had one meaning in 1950 and quite another, accepted an identifiable and incontrovertible meaning today. We cannot turn the clock back linguistically. However much Lawrence may want to inhabit a different world, the world may be of Inspector Morse. The world may be where he's being paid to be in front of a camera, but that world has gone. This is the stuff of drama and not of reality. And he is in reality now. So I think Lawrence has given a very creditable performance as a Harrovian bad boy, and I think he now expects applause and praise for consistency, creativity, class, but actually what he's demonstrated is weakness, and he's egged on by the nasties led by people like Jeremy Hoskin, who sees nothing to doshing out cash to the right wing, even £4.5 million apparently to Andrew Bridgen to help him with his legal bills and domestic squabbles. No great fuss about that. But then that's a fraternal quarrel, and it's hardly a roll of golden wallpaper lovingly plastered up by Lulu Little's Sloane Britain brand. She might have said that she was promoting Britain as she pasted up the paper, by the way, a distinctive yellow, not gold at all. And by the time Jeremy Hunt got access to the flat, the paper had been painted over. But Hoskin was lashing out money, and he said apparently that he was lashing out money, commissioning his stormtroopers. Fox was his stormtrooper, just as Sir Paul Marshall was moulding GB News. So the cash is perhaps a form of papier-mâché teased together and dampened by the perspiration of perception. You can imagine Dan Wootton, can't you, lathering up a few £100, and another free speech stalwart, like Fox. And of course it was because of Wootton that Fox went too far and found himself exiting GB News with Father Calvin Robertson, I can't remember his name now, I don't really care. But to see how much of this performance art is performance art, we only have to witness the invitations to appear on Julia Hartley Brewer's programme. She's the one who can whitewash any stain of impropriety. And the problem is that what Fox says actually causes offence, whether he intended it or not. And I do not think he intended it. I think he assumes everyone gets the game. His attack on Crystal was described by the judge as seriously harmful, defamatory, and baseless. It was also invoking an old homophobic slur, and that needs stamping on as well. It's not just agitation for cash. It's not just a performance. It's causing an upset and it's perpetuating prejudice. And I think Lawrence would find that worrying if he actually stopped and thought about it. But instead, because of the pressures and because of the Hoskin boy and the people touting money and massaging his ego, he toughens it out, he tightens his belt, because his buddies who finance him, who egg him on, tell him he's selling the character and doing well. He's doing badly. And even if he feels threatened, he's told that it's a modern martyrdom, that he's a new Saint Sebastian, that his career has been taken from him by the liberal elite, by the woke guard that goaded him on and encouraged him to perform on Newsnight. But in the end, Lawrence, this is not the part you were made to play. This is not the role of a lifetime. This is career destroying. This is an error in the script, and you, Lawrence, are the fall guy in someone else's pathetic drama. It's like the two Nazis in the White House sketch. Are we the bad guys, they say? Yes, yes, yes. And yes, Lawrence, you are. And yes, I still like you, but it's time to wise up, wake up, and grow up.